So hi and hello there. Welcome to the very first video of the course. And in this particular video, we are going to see the introduction part of the straight lines. But before going to that particular part, let me introduce myself. So I am Swarit Mahalsekar. I'm your instructor for this particular course. I'm not giving a brief introduction about myself to you all guys because I had already given or I had already introduced myself in the previous two courses, right? So that's why I'm not preferring to give my introduction in this particular course, because I hope that now you are very much well aware about me and my way of teaching as well. Okay, so let's straight away jump to the course. So basically in this particular course or in this particular video, we are going to see the introduction of straight lines. So let me just write over here. We are going to see the introduction to straight lines. I'm writing it in short form. Let me just take this particular parts little bit over here, and then we are good to start this particular topic, right? So let me just highlight this particular term, that is straight lines. Just a second. Yes, just a second. Let me just highlight this particular term, that is introduction of straight line or introduction to straight line. Now I hope that you have a basic idea about the 2D graph. Okay, so I'm drawing the 2D graph. So this is your y-axis and this is your x-axis. So I expect that you know this, you know all of these things, because this is the crash course, and I expect that you must have at least a basic idea about the 2D graph or in general a 2D plane, right? So this is the positive x-axis, this is the positive y-axis, this is the negative y-axis, and this is the negative x-axis, right? Of course, man. Okay, so the very next concept that I would like to tell you is this. Generally I had seen that most of the students get confused in this. Okay, but now after listening to this particular video, or after watching this particular video, I'm pretty sure that you won't be in any confusion. Okay, you won't be any you won't be in any state of confusion, right? So listen to this very carefully. The amount of displacement, the amount of displacement with respect to x-axis either in upward direction, either in upward or downward direction, right, is the value of y. Sir, could you please repeat this particular sentence, as it is sounding little difficult? Yes, of course, man. See over here, this is your x-axis, right? This is your x-axis. You will say yes, absolutely, sir. Then what this particular sentence is trying to tell you, the amount of displacement either in upward direction or in downward direction, that will give you the value of y. Okay, I hope you are getting my point. Just a second, let me erase all of the things. And then we will see to this particular point. So now let's suppose, just a second, yeah. So now let's suppose if I am over here at this particular point, okay, and I am moving in upward direction. Okay, let's suppose I'm moving a 5 meter. Okay, in general we should consider it as a unit, but for your understanding purpose, I'm considering it as a 5 meter, right? So let's suppose this is 5 meter. Okay, so as you can see, the amount of displacement with respect to x-axis, see over here, this is 0,0 point, right? But it is in x-axis. Okay, so x-axis includes this particular point. Okay, so that's why we should consider that this the displacement is with respect to x-axis, right? So displacement is how much? 5. So how we are supposed to draw this particular line? See, we are supposed to draw this particular line in this way. Just a second, yeah. So this is y is equals to 5. That means what? This particular line is basically y is equivalent to 5. This is what this particular line tries to tell you. That means what? Over here, as we had seen, the amount of displacement with respect to x-axis. So this was your x-axis, right? So the amount of displacement, just a second, yeah. yeah, the amount of displacement with respect to y-axis, sorry, extremely sorry, the amount of displacement with respect to x-axis, that will give you the value of y, right? I hope now you are getting my point. Okay, and let me write the second sentence. The amount the amount of displacement the amount of displacement oh sorry, what I will do, I will directly write this particular word down below. The amount of displacement with respect to y-axis the amount of displacement with respect to y-axis either in right or left of y-axis, okay, is will give you the value of will give you value for x value for x. So what does that mean? See over here, let's suppose now I am again considering this particular point. Okay, why? Because this particular point is lying in y-axis, right? So if I'm considering that this is y-axis, obviously it is y-axis, so this particular point comes in y-axis as well. Okay, that means this is the only point which comes in x-axis and y-axis as well. That means this point is 0, 0. Okay, so now I hope that you are very much familiar with this particular point. Okay, since this is the very basic concept. Okay, and now what this particular line tries to tell you, the amount of displacement. Let's suppose if I'm displacing, or let's suppose if I was at this particular point and now I'm moving over here. Let's suppose if I had moved up till here, let's suppose this particular point is 5, right? 5 units, okay, or 5 meter in general for your understanding purpose. Okay, that means what, the amount of displacement with respect to y-axis. So this was your y-axis and I had displaced by 5 units with respect to y-axis, either in right direction or in left direction, will fetch you the value for x. Okay, in our condition, sorry, in our case we had considered that we are moving in the rightward direction, so that's why we had considered this particular point, and therefore you will see this particular line passing something like this, and this particular line will tell you that this particular will tell you the value of x. So over here the value of x is 5. Okay, let's go in the Desmos software and then we will try to deduce certain things out of it, right? So just a second, let me go to the Desmos software. Just a second, let me go to the Desmos software. Yes, so in the upcoming videos I will tell you about this particular software, but as of now you just need to remember this particular you just need to see the this particular thing. Okay, and by looking at this particular equation, all of the things would be crystal clear to you all guys. Okay, so the very first equation was y is equals to 5. Let's suppose if I'm entering this particular equation over here, so as you can see over here, so this is the point 5. See over here 0, 5. So just a second, this is nothing but y is equivalent to 5. So this was the point I was talking about, and over here as well, as you can see over here, this was the point of y is equals to 5, or this was the line for y is equals to 5. Now let's suppose if I'm entering over here x is equals to, just a second, x is equals to 5. So as you can see, this is the line for x is equals to 5. This is the line for x is equals to 5. Okay, so this was what I was talking about. So now let me erase this particular thing, and then we will try to see certain things out of it. Okay, so let me erase this particular thing as well. Just a second. Let me erase this whole of the thing, and then we will try to see certain things. So let me move to this particular working board, and I will again draw the x and y axis. So let me just draw the x and y axis once again. Just a second. So this is your y axis, correct, and this is your x axis, and this is the positive value of x, right? This is the positive value of y, right? And this is the negative value of y, and this is the negative value of x. I hope you are getting my point. Yes. Now see over here, just a second, let me move to that particular software. Now I am entering again one equation, that is x is equals to 2. in this, now we are entering x is equals to 2. So as you can see over here we are getting this particular line. That is absolutely fine. Now let's suppose if I'm entering x is equals to 1. Okay, just a second, x is equals to 1. Okay, so now what we saw over here, just a second, what we saw over here, as we are decreasing the value of x, it is coming over here. See over here, it was this particular line, it was x is equals to 2, and this particular line it is x equals to 1. That means what? It got decremented. That means our basically we are trying to move over here, over this particular region. That means towards the y-axis. Okay, towards, we are trying to move towards the y-axis. I hope you are getting my point. First we saw this particular equation, that is x is just a second, x is equals to 2, right? But when we actually equated this particular value as x equals to 1, so what we saw is, see over here, this was x equals to 2, right? And then when we equated x equals to 1, that means this particular line, so basically this particular line got shifted over here to the left side. Okay, and now let's suppose if I'm entering just a second, now let's suppose if I'm just a second, yeah, let's suppose if I'm entering x equals to 0, right? So that means what? We are talking about this particular line, that is x equals to 0. So what we saw, at x equals to 0 we are getting y-axis. Okay, at x equals to 0 we are getting y-axis. That means what? Y-axis I can also write it as x equals to 0. So just a second, let me write over here. So this particular y-axis I can also write it as x equals to 0. Just a second, I'll write over here. So I can also write it as x equals to 0. Why? Because over here what we saw, that from y-axis one line is passing, that is x equals to 0. Just a second, yeah, from y-axis one line is passing, that is x is 0, x equals to 0. That means we are talking about this particular line. Okay, now I will erase all of the things. Now we will type another equation, that is y equals to 2, right? So basically as you can see, this is the line we are talking about. Now let's suppose we are entering y is equals to 1. Alright, so as you can see over here, as we are decreasing the values, so this was your y is equals to 2, so, and this is your y is equals to 1, right? So basically y-axis is shifting downwards, extremely sorry, this particular line is shifting downwards. That means this, and as we are putting y is equals to 0, so we will put y is equals to 0, and then we will check what kind of plot we are getting. So I will put y equals 0. Alright, so as you can see, this is the plot we are getting for y is equals to 0. Y is equals to 0, and as you can see, it is directly coming on x-axis. So in future I can also write x-axis as y is equals to 0. Just a second, yeah. So this was the point I was talking about. So that means y is equals to 0. So in future I can also write x-axis as y is equals to 0. So I had seen most of the students, they get confused between these 2 points. Okay, and henceforth, I hope now you had understood this particular point. So henceforth you won't be having any such doubt in this particular case, or you won't be having any such confusion over here. Okay, so I hope that you understood this particular part. Okay, but even if you have any doubts, feel free to ask me. I will surely help you to clear your doubts. Okay, now moving forward, let's suppose I'm considering any random point over here. Alright, so obviously with respect to x-axis, I will see how much displacement this point has taken. Okay, or how much distance this point is far away from the x-axis. Okay, similarly with respect to y-axis, I will see how much distance, or how much distance this particular point, or how much far away this particular point is from y-axis, right? So let's suppose this particular point, just a second, yeah, this particular, see over here, this particular region, as you can see, it is parallel to x-axis. See this particular line and this particular line, as they are parallel to each other. So that's why we will see this particular distance, okay, and this distance is nothing but x dash. So let's suppose this distance is x dash, right, from y-axis. With respect to y-axis, we are seeing to this particular point, and obviously we are getting the distance as x dash, right? Now if you could see very clearly, this particular distance is equivalent to this particular distance. That means what? These two lines are parallel to each other, right? So what? So this so the distance between this point and x-axis is y dash. I hope you are getting my point. The distance between this point and x-axis is y dash. So x dash is also known as abscissa, a b s i s s a. X dash is also known as abscissa, and y dash is also known as ordinate, right? And together, just a second, yeah, and together, that is x and y dash, x dash and y dash, that is x dash and y dash, they are known as, just a second, x dash and y dash, together they are known as coordinate points, right? So in future, rather than referring to the point as x and y, you might see in some of the question they may also give abscissa and abscissa and ordinate, okay, or in general they will give coordinate points, right? So at that time you need not to worry what is coordinate or what is abscissa and what is ordinate. So basically whenever they are giving abscissa, that means they are talking about x-axis, and whenever they are giving ordinate, they are talking about y-axis, okay? So I hope you got to know or your concept is crystal clear up till this particular point, okay? And we all know that in this is the first quadrant, this is the second quadrant, right? This is the second quadrant, this is the third quadrant. Just a second, let me erase this particular thing. Yeah, this is the third quadrant, and this is the fourth quadrant, right? Will say absolutely correct, sir. So we all know that as over here the value of x is positive and value of y is also positive. So whatever the values, that would be positive, that means the value of x is positive and value of y is also positive. In this particular quadrant, the value of x is negative but the value of y is positive, so it would be negative positive, right? In this particular quadrant, both of the values are negative, so in this particular quadrant the values would be negative, right? Why? Because the values of x is also negative and the value of y is also negative. In this particular quadrant, as you can see, the value of x is positive but the value of y is negative, so we will say positive, negative, okay? So this was the basic idea, or these were the basic concepts that were involved in the straight lines, okay? So I hope you understood each and everything up till here. So I'm ending this video over here, and in the next video we will start with the new concept. Thank you.